This is Annette Sullivan, Lavender Thoughts. Thanks for joining me today. This is hopefully going to be a quick video just showing you how to do some mirror image or reverse stamping. So if you have a cat stamp like this and you want to be able to have the cat going both ways like I have here, I can show you how we can stamp and punch that out. And then for this particular one, we've got the two birds facing each other, but we've only got the one stamp going one way, and it uses a die. So I will show you how we can quickly do that as well. Okay, so we'll start off with the cat. So if you've got a stamp positioner, it's a totally different technique and so much easier. But if you don't have that luxury, this is what you can do. So get yourself a piece of your cardstock and punch out two of your images, and then just pop the images back into the cutout. And the other thing you're going to need is a silicone mat or a piece of acetate or something like that to do it. Okay, so in here I've got the cat, and he's a two-step stamp, so he's got two parts, but for the purposes of this I'll see how we go just with the one. So here's our outline stamp. We'll just ink that up. Now if we were going to do our normal cat, we're just going to stamp straight on our cutout. Like so. So there's your standard cat. But if we want to do the other cat, what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn it over. And we're going to stamp on our silicone mat. So make sure you ink it up really well. See me inking up there. And we're just going to stamp on our silicone mat and just hold it down for a minute to let the ink catch on the silicone mat. Let's put the lid on back on that ink. Okay, so you can see we've got the image on there. So what we're going to do now is, this is how our cat would normally be, and that's how it's going to be if you stamp it there. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn that over that way. So we're going to turn our punches come out that way. So we're going to flip our punch over, and we're just going to, I'll just flip this over, put it back in here so it'll be a bit easier to see. So I've got that in there, and then we can just line this up over the top of it and stamp it down. If you're having difficulty seeing it, that's easy. You can do it the other way. Put down your silicone mat, pick up your die cut or your punch, pop him right over the top, and then just use the back of your block just to press it down, and then when you pick it up, you'll have your cat. Now I moved that as I did it, but that's the general idea. So we'll just have another go. And what I might do is, we can actually do it on the back of this one so I don't have to punch out another one. But just to make it easier to see, what I'm going to do is just to mark around the outside of this, because it's all white on white and it's a bit difficult to see. If I just put that around the outside, just a bit of highlighter, when you put that over the top, it's going to make it easier to see. So let's ink up our image again. stamp it on our mat. Okay. Put our little punch in there, and I've done that on the wrong side, haven't I? That was clever. Okay. So we know where the cat's going to be, in the middle there. So we can pick up our silicone mat and we can turn it over. We can go down. And it might be a bit hard to see on the video there, but I've actually got it lined up fairly well, I hope. And then all you've got to do is just press that down. Make sure you get a good image, and then carefully lift it up. And there we have our perfect cat. So this, if we just go back to our original cat. So if you just want your normal one, you can either stamp and then punch, or you can punch and then stamp. So this time we've punched and we can just stamp. So there we have our two cats looking at each other. Now, if you wanted to add the extra detail in there, you would do exactly the same. You would just stamp it on stamp that part on the silicone mat, and then stamp the next image and go over the top of it and do just the same. All right, hopefully that'll make sense to you. So that's how you do it if you've got a punch. If you've got a die cut, it's not very much different. So if you're just going to stamp your birds and you want them to just look at each other like that with no die cuts, that's the easiest thing to do, because all you're going to do is ink up your image, stamp your first one, ink up again onto the silicone mat or your acetate, and turn it over and line it up next to your other bird there. And again, just press it down, and I've done them pretty close. Oh, isn't that cute? They're kissing. All right. So again, if you're going to want to die cut them, I will put this on the back before we start. So I have die cut 2. We're just going to stamp 1, and you don't need to necessarily put it in there to stamp, but if you were using your stamp positioner, that would help you line it up much easier. Okay, so to stamp our normal one, we can just pop him down there and ink him up, and then we have our normal one. Ink all over me, and then again we're going to ink it up on our mat. It's flown away. Okay. So flip it over. So we've got the reverse bird. Pop him in the little hole. Flip your mat over. And I think I've got that pretty well lined up. I'm not sure you can actually see that in there. probably made that worse. Okay, so I'll just lift that up and pop him out. So we now have, oops, our two birds. Now I could ink that up again, or I should have pressed down more to put a bit, if you wanted a bit more ink, but if you're going to colour it, it's not going to matter a lot. So that's how I ended up with those birds on that particular one. Okay, so I think I've got all that done now. Thanks for watching, and I hope to, if you like it, just give me a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you.